Welcome to Define Roots. My name is Tian. Today we are going to talk about the present moment. So this morning I just realized that there the future doesn't exist. What exists is this moment right here. And the past doesn't exist. It once existed, but it doesn't exist. So let's elaborate further on this. And so if you were to plant a seed today, and depending on what I do with that seed, that will determine the outcome of that seed. So let's say that I put it down into the ground and I just stand there and I don't do anything about it. The outcome of the seed will not prosper. It will not become a tree because we know how to plant trees and we know what it takes to plant trees. So let's say that for me, for instance, if I want to become physically more fit, we know that if you want to do that, you have to go work out. But that at the same time, working out doesn't mean that you get physically fit because it depends on what you do. So let's say that I go work out and I do an exercise in the wrong way. So let's say that I do deadlift mixed with aerobics. So I would go there, try to lift very heavy, combine it with aerobics or some sort of weird motion that would be counterintuitive to what the exercise is supposed to do. Now I'm setting myself up to for injuries because that is what I'm doing is going to project me towards that direction. So going back to the example of a seed, for instance, if I plant a seed and I dig it up and I put it into a cup and I put it outside for 1 minute and I put it back down to the earth inside the cup. Yeah, the seed might grow to a certain extent, but what will happen is that it will be restricted inside the cup. So the point is that the future doesn't exist. What does exist is this very moment right here. And what I decide to do with this moment will determine the outcome or the growth, or in other words, the evolution, not evolution, the evolving path of my current action. So again, if I plant a seed, the path of how the seed will evolve is essentially to become a tree because we know this. So let's say I plant a tree or plant a seed, and then if I follow the proper procedure, it will become a tree. And that takes a lot of time. But knowing that it takes a lot of time and knowing that if I follow through with all the processes necessary, it will become a tree. So in the same way, if I want to get physically fit, I need to be cautious that I don't hurt myself through learning about the exercises, make sure that I exercise properly and safely, and also make sure that I consistently do it because physical health, we know that over time it degenerates. So, in other words, we get weaker as we get older. So, if I exercise um, in a, let's say, safe way, I can become stronger and I can live longer, essentially. So, if that is my goal, that is my purpose of where I want to go, then I got to take the necessary procedure to do that. So, and that goes with anything in life. So let's say that that is just physical, right? Now let's talk about mental. So, mentally, let's say that I go out in the world and interact with people, and I tend to hurt people. For instance, I make negative comments, and let's say I make them feel bad, right? Because the things that I say makes another person feel bad. Let's say that happens more frequent than I like to. And it's almost becomes like this, my default mode of operation is doing this. So knowing that I I cause people to feel bad and cause people um, to let's say not feel so good, then it's like my actions in that moment is causing that. Now the beauty of this is that I can change it if I don't want to. If if the way that I perceive myself is is not in that way, I can change myself. So going back to the seed, if my goal is just to plant an apple tree, then I plant apple trees. If my goal is to have pears or lemons, then I plant those things. But if I plant an apple tree and expect to have a lemon tree or expect to have a durian tree, that is way out of the reality, to put it that way. So, in other words, if I make people feel bad and I become almost ignorant towards it and say, no, I don't do that, it's the other people that do that, or it's the environment, or they did that to themselves and stuff like that. Yes, certain conditions can apply, and it probably does, but the point is that I take responsibility for what I do. So if there was something that I said that hurt someone, and I know that I did that, it's okay to hurt people like that. It's not okay to hurt people, but follow this. It's not okay to hurt people, but it is a part of being human. We hurt people not intentionally, but sometimes it just happens. But when it does, we have the option to say sorry or to correct it. Because as human beings, we are not perfect. No human beings are perfect. So when things happen like that, when we make a mistake, for instance, we have the ability to correct ourselves and say, I didn't mean that. I'm very sorry, and things of that sort. So you can correct your actions. And sometimes hurting someone in can be in much greater way that saying sorry is not enough. You that let's say trust is broken, or so like you break a vase, for instance, you cannot, it's never the same. But the thing is, yes, it's never the same. Everything is never the same. Everything always evolves. And that's why in Japan they have the art of pouring gold over broken pieces and bond it together. There's a word for this that I cannot come to mind right now, but essentially this is, in Japan they look at this in a sense of beauty, that you can mend broken pieces together with gold, and now it becomes a much more beautiful piece than what it originally was. So essentially, everything that exists exists at this very moment right here. And every action that is taken from every moment evolves into its direction. So, another example, if I want to further my career, for instance, and I into the field of, let's say, the arts of healing or meditation, and I spend like, let's say, 8 or 10 hours of my day playing video games. And I spend maybe like 1 minute every day meditating. So that 1 minute of meditating is something. It's not that it's it's essentially is going towards that path. But the point here is that if I my goal is to progress towards that direction, all my actions that I do right now is going to evolve towards that. So, in other words, instead of playing video games for 10 hours a day, I can now maybe, let's say, read about meditation, learn about it. Now, all the action that I take is evolving towards that path. And this goes with anything in life. If I want to become a better person, I first have to define what better means so I can evolve towards that path. So let's say better meaning that I stop deceiving people, I stop lying, I stop hurting people. Let's say I um, eat better, eat healthier, so I can feel better. So all those things, let's say I don't know how to do these things. Well, luckily, we live in a world where everything is accessible. So information is not that there isn't information; it is just too much information. So luckily, that is a thing, and whatever we desire, we can go there. We can seek information and seek help from other people to get there. And there is countless of books that talks about, self-improvement and all these things. So it all comes down to what the person wants. What do you want to evolve into? And the evolutionary process starts like right here and now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, right now. The action that I take, quote, today, unquote, is going to cause me to evolve towards that path. Because tomorrow doesn't exist. Tomorrow is a concept that we agree on that a time will come at that time. So, meaning that today is right now. Tomorrow, it's like, the next day on the calendar. But essentially, it is just evolving through time. Well, time is also still a concept, but we agree that, let's say the calendar day is today is the 12th, tomorrow is the 13th. And the time from now until tomorrow is 24 hours, right? So, but the thing is, the action that I take right now will evolve over 24 hours. Not not like it doesn't come tomorrow and then I'll do it. It's like what I do now will evolve to then. So if change is desired, change is required. Um, a lot of times, it's almost like the smoker that wants to quit but doesn't want to quit. And it's very simple, really. If you really don't want to do something, you just don't do it. There's no secret. There's no formula. Change happens from within. And if you desire a certain outcome in your life, consider what action you need to take in order to get there. And that action doesn't come tomorrow. That action doesn't come next year or when I have this, when I have that. No, it happens right now. So let's say, for instance, my dream is to have a mansion. Well, I can't have a mansion. Today, I cannot. But my actions today can bring me one step closer to getting that mansion. How? Well, there are plenty of ways to make money. And apparently, that is not my goal. So that is just an example. But essentially, let's say I want to plant 100 trees. I can't plant 100 trees today. I mean, like, I can't grow 100 trees um, for 100 years, let's say, for instance. But what I can do today is to, let's say, buy some seeds and then I say, okay, I don't know where to plant it. Well, I can get, right now, I can get the seed and then I can find places to plant it. And that's that. So essentially, let's wrap it all up. Everything that exists at this very moment right now. The concept of time and months and years is a concept that we agree on. And to say that I will do this X, Y, and Z is to put it off and not do it at all. Because there is no other perfect time than now. The only thing we can do is now. That's all there is. And if you do it now, anything now, it will evolve. And the more we do something, that one thing we desire, the more it builds upon and the more it brings us closer to that place. So now is the time, not tomorrow, not yesterday, not 1 year from today, not when I have this check and that check. There's always something we can do that brings us closer to where we want to be. And that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Uh, thank you. And I wish that you have a beautiful day. Not day, but yeah, I wish you, yeah, I see you. Cheers.